I used an example last semester to try to engage the students with a real world problem. We talked about world poverty levels. Now statistics, most students think is you just calculate numbers and that's it. But to try to get across to them that we're actually answering questions that are out there in the real world, that we use the statistics to help us be informed about what's happening in the real world. I thought I'd introduce this. The side effect of it also was it engaged the international students, because by looking at world poverty or how you measure poverty levels in different countries across the world, of course the international students' experience becomes valuable. And so students wanted to be able to discuss with each other what happens in different countries. So I asked the students to sit in little groups, move across desks and move around the room, which they all like doing anyway. Gives something different than just sitting there. And put up a statement from the World Bank saying that world poverty had decreased since the 1990s. And I said, well, what does that mean? What does it mean to you about world poverty? What is world poverty? Everybody reads these statements and we think, oh yeah, it's decreased. What's decreased? Try to put into real terms. And I used lots of different slides. So we looked at what I'd consider a very isolated dwelling with broken down cars nearby and all this. And we talked about lack of services. Is that an idea of poverty? So you don't have a doctor nearby, you don't have a shop down the street. You are very isolated. That's one idea of poverty. We looked at overcrowding then, a picture of lots of houses one on top of the other, and said that's poverty too. If you can't breathe and you're so close to each other, you have problems with sewerage and all this sort of stuff. So in different countries you get different ideas of world poverty. And then of course you come down to you just don't have enough money to survive from day to day. So what do we measure? I mean, what do we use to measure world poverty? And they had to discuss this. Now I only had 15 minutes tops to do that. It was more like 10 minutes because I had to get on with the content for that lecture. But they certainly took it up and there was a lot of discussion. And just by using that different teaching style, I think it helped them realise that they had to do this. It wasn't me telling them about it. They had to come up with something themselves and make it real for themselves. And I think that always leads to deeper engagement with a topic. It's still not easy for them. They're not that familiar with the ideas of statistics. So I knew it wasn't going to be a simple exercise for them to do, but at least they could share it with other people and share how much they did or didn't know and could contribute on that subject. And I got some really interesting answers back. And it was nice to see the mixture of students, the mature age to the straight out of high school, the international to the local, and so forth, taking part in that exercise.